For those who don't know, I am one of the biggest Selkirk haters in the world. That being said, I recently reviewed the SLK era, and it was the first good thing I had to say about Selkirk in a while. It was a good paddle and I played well, and I think it was a good direction for Selkirk. Selkirk just released their new Boomstik, which is gonna be their most powerful and poppy paddle to date. Is this a competitor to all the Yola Pro 4s out there, or am I gonna continue to hate Selkirk? Let's find out. As a reminder, this is more of a first impressions review, not a full review. I don't have much insight into long-term durability. Just like the eras, the Boomstik comes in two shapes, wide body and elongated. I typically prefer wide bodies and hybrid shaped paddles, but my friend only got the elongated, so that's what I tried. The Boomstik features a new full foam core. They use the same foam as the 008, but they have EVA foam on the very edges now, but it's all melted into one foam. This foam core is the hardest hitting of all the ones on the market. Theoretically, this should have more durability than Gen 3 paddles out there like the Yola Pro 4s. The Boomstik also features some adjustable weights on the side, but according to a lot of people, these aren't supposed to be taken off, so that's kind of interesting. My paddle came in at 8.4 ounces, which is on the heavier side, but is explained by the weights on the edges. Each weight is 7.5 grams, so it's a total of 15 grams added to the paddle. So you can kind of think of it as a 7.9 ounce paddle, which is pretty standard, I would say. They just slapped on some permanent 7.5 gram lead tape on the edges. I didn't have a chance to play with the lead tape setup this time. This setup is not typically what I would go for. I typically go for a 3 gram strips here and here, plus some weight on the bottom. But just to sort of emulate my normal setup, if I were to modify this, I would probably start with a flick weight on the bottom, just to balance it out a bit more and make it easier to flick. This paddle is towards the top in the pop category. I would have to hit it side by side with the Ripple or any other poppy paddles, but this is more poppy than the Pro 4s. On resets, you definitely don't want to put in any extra force because just sticking your paddle out will get the ball over. When I first played with it, a lot of my resets were really high, especially out of the air. But towards the end of the session, it got a lot better. I wouldn't say it's easy to reset with this by any means, but I think it's doable if you adjust the grip pressure and the paddle angle. The feel of this paddle is light and poppy. When you hit a ball, it has a hollow feeling and doesn't have much dwell time in my opinion. It's very responsive and the ball just pops off really fast off the face. I personally like more forgiving paddles that do some of the reset work for you, but if you like poppier paddles that are just very responsive, then this is for you. The spin is good on this paddle, but to get your drips and more dipping shots, because of the pop, I think you just have to swing a little bit lighter. The sweet spot was decent, but for me personally, I think it could benefit from some additional weight. It could also just be the elongated shape and me being more used to hybrid and standard shaped paddles. The power is probably similar to the Pro 4s, but just a little bit more. Serves, returns, and drives were all easy to hit hard and deep. And with the spin, I don't think many of them were actually out. Also, I think I hit one of the best putaways in terms of power with the Boomstik. As a certified Selkirk hater, I think the last 2 drops that they had were pretty good. If they keep it up, they might redeem their reputation in my eyes. This paddle is one of the poppiest and most powerful paddles on the market, an area Selkirk hasn't really been in for a while now. Also, this was in stock form, albeit the stock form is a little bit heavier, but basically it could have better performance if you change the setup. I think this was a great move for Selkirk because so many players out there just want the poppiest and most powerful paddles out there, which is why you see so many Pro 4s on the courts. And assuming their full foam core and their infinite grit works as expected, this would be the most durable of the high tier power paddles. I personally think this is a very fun paddle because who doesn't like hitting the ball really hard? I did notice that it came at the expense of some of my reset ability, like resets and out of the air dinks. But if you're a power player or like that style in general, this is right up your alley. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what paddle you want to see next. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.